Divinely confirmed secrets, 7 miraculous steps to manifest heavenly riches from nothing, in the heart of Littleford, nestled among cobblestone streets and the watchful steeple of St. Agnes Church, a spark of divine revelation crackled in the air that fateful midweek evening. Emily, a devoted mother of 2, sat among her fellow parishioners, her heart heavy with fear and hesitance. A wind howled outside, carrying whispers of hope and promise that danced through the chapel's windows, wrapping around her like a warm embrace. Suddenly, during an electrifying moment of worship, the pastor's voice soared over the congregation. He spoke with authority, proclaiming a prophetic message that pierced through Emily's uncertainty: 7 miraculous steps to manifest heavenly riches from nothing. Her heart raced. Could this be the answer she had longed for? The air was thick with expectation, and the flicker of candles illuminated hopeful faces, a sea of anticipation swelling in the sanctuary. For generations, her family struggled, barely scraping by. Each week, she knelt in prayer, begging for divine intervention. Yet tonight, it felt as though the very heavens opened, revealing pathways strewn with potential and prosperity. As the initial shock settled, evening dimmed around the church and, with breath held tight, she listened as the pastor began to unveil each step. Believe, he urged, with just a mustard seed's worth of faith. Emily felt fire ignite within her. Light radiated in brilliant waves around her, enveloping those in attendance, delivering a call to action that felt like a divine stamp of approval. The words echoed through her mind: could there truly be a way to lift her family from financial despair? But as the weeks wore on, the excitement started to fade, gradually replaced by unsettling doubts. Each miraculous step she tried seemed to unravel into deeper spiritual conflicts. With every failure, whispers grew: concerns from neighbors that layered heaviness over her heart like an iron cloak. What if she's lost touch with reality, murmured one. Don't let false hopes distract you, cautioned another. Even her family's affectionate glances felt more like assessment than support. Through this tumult, Pastor Jonathan became her guiding light, a steady, compassionate presence amid the storm. Emily, he reminded her one evening, faith isn't a currency, it's a connection. Remember what Jesus said? His words were like cool water in a parched land. He steered her back to Matthew 17 verse 20, insisting that unbelievable things can manifest from the tiniest belief. Slowly, flickerings of hope rekindled in her once muted spirit. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as despair threatened to swallow her whole, a miracle erupted. At the very church where prayers soared, a beloved member of the community who had lingered on the brink of death suddenly regained health and vitality. Gasps of disbelief cascaded through the congregation, a rapturous wave of smiles and tears cascading like holy rain. Emily was swept away in the moment, a divine affirmation that miracles thrived among them. Now, standing on the edge of possibilities, she felt the weight of her journey press against her heart. Questions echoed in her mind. Could she rally the community to embrace this divine path? With each heartbeat, her resolve ignited anew, and the universe felt rich with promise. Yet, shadows lurked in her own beliefs, the truth tangible just out of reach. Was she ready to uncover the 7 steps, the keys to heavenly wealth awaited, each answer nestled within the depths of her spirit? The call for transformation resounded, spiritual struggles intensified, and Emily's truth lingered. One step could change everything. What lay ahead beckoned with brightness, and the answer waited for her to seize the extraordinary journey yet to unfold. Emily rose from her seat, heart pounding with a mix of hope and trepidation. The church, once a mere sanctuary of tradition, now felt alive with possibilities. As she looked around the room, she saw her fellow parishioners' faces filled with a mosaic of emotion, woven together by shared struggles, all waiting with bated breath for the divine revelation promised just a few weeks ago. Yet the joy in her heart seemed to battle the darkness of doubt that had crept in like a wet fog. She had seen a miracle, true, but would her life follow suit? Would the whispers turning to shouts inside her head quiet enough for her to take the next step? Though uncertainty filled the air, a warm breeze brushed softly against her skin as if urging her forward. The pastor's words echoed in her mind, clear as a bell, believe. What did that really mean? She had believed deeply but had faltered. And now, the question loomed larger than ever, would faith alone be enough to leap into the unknown? Taking a deep breath, Emily moved toward Pastor Jonathan, his gentle smile greeting her. The lines of worry etched on her face melted a little under his reassuring gaze. Emily, he said softly, each of us has our own journey to walk. Some steps are more challenging than others, but remember this, every little effort you make is a hit of encouragement for those around you. Don't underestimate how powerful your faith can be, even when doubts creep in. God sees your struggle, loves you through it, and will light your path. Tears unexpectedly welled in her eyes. How could such simple words strike so deeply? The moment felt profound, a moment where the weight of human experience met divine grace. It made her realize this journey wasn't just about her, it was about a community, a shared faith that could uplift not just herself, but her neighbors too. With renewed intention, she took her seat once more, but the heaviness remained. To face the troubleshooting tides of finance, the gut-wrenching worries, the raise of her 2 children, the judgment of others, it was all much bigger than she, yet she felt a pull. It was time to move. It was time to uncover the first step. Love is abundant. The pastor began. Step 1 is love. To manifest your blessings, you must start by pouring love into all areas of your life. Love your family, your neighbors, and even the strangers on the street. Make kindness a priority, and watch how abundance flows back to you. His words danced around Emily, initiating a spark in her heart. Love, she understood that intimately. Embracing her children, sharing with her neighbors, being compassionate, she already did those things. But now, she saw them as seeds planted within her daily life. It was simple yet powerful, a reminder of how divine love transcended monetary wealth. As she considered this, a soft giggle tugged at her attention. It was her youngest, Timmy, drawing pictures with crayons in the church pew. The innocent creation of bright colors made her heart soar. He had no worries of bills or judgment, just pure love radiating from his very essence. At that moment, Emily felt the deep truth of the pastor's words sink in, breaking the chains of doubt. If this love could foster true connection, if it could paint the world with joy like Timmy's art, then it was indeed the first step. As prayers of gratitude began to rise within her, she wondered about the second step. What marvelous revelation awaited her? Was it shaping up to be as transformative as the first? With a deep breath, she embraced the unknown. The winds of change seemed to weave a new tapestry around her as whispers of hope fluttered through her heart, kindling an excitement for what could come next. Could she lead her community towards this radiant light? Would they take those steps together? The possibilities stretched ahead of her like the glow of dusk, inviting and ever-changing. The way forward shimmered with divine promise, yet whispers of the unknown lingered. What would the second step reveal? And who would join her on this remarkable journey? The days passed, painting a rich tapestry of anticipation for Emily. Each morning she woke with a growing sense of purpose, a quiet whisper echoing within her heart urging her forward. The pastor's message about love was an ember that refused to dim. She found herself practicing kindness in small doses, an extra moment spent listening to a neighbor's troubles, an unexpected meal shared with a struggling friend, a hug enveloping her children with warmth. The community began to take notice. As she walked through town, she saw glimmers of hope in the faces she passed. Little acts of love blossomed around her, an elderly lady receiving help with groceries, children playing joyously in the park, laughter echoing off the walls of the coffee shop. Emily couldn't help but feel invigorated. Each encounter was the brush of God's hand, each smile a reflection of the divine love she had begun planting. That Sunday morning, the sun poured through the stained glass windows like cascades of color, illuminating the church in a divine glow. Pastor Jonathan stood at the pulpit, clearly sensing the stirring excitement in the air. Today, we will explore the second step, he announced, his voice resonating with warmth. Step 2 is trust. Trust in God's plan for you and your community. His words unfurled like petals in spring. Trust, an idea so simple yet so profound. Emily felt her heart swell. How many times had she clung to worry instead of leaning into faith? How many moments had she doubted when she could have trusted instead? Trust, he continued, is not just a feeling, it's a choice. Let go of the burdens you carry, and embrace faith. When you trust God, you open the floodgates for unimaginable blessings. The congregation murmured, a blend of agreement and contemplation weaving through the air. Emily sat at the edge of her seat, her mind swirling with possibilities. Could she truly let go of her fear and embrace a divine plan? Images of her children's laughter and the community's interconnected lives flooded her thoughts. What if trusting meant surrendering her worries? What if it opened doors she had never dared to unlock? As she mulled over this, Timmy turned to her, his cherubic face bright with innocence. "Mommy," he whispered, "do you think God listens to us when we talk to him?" Her heart swelled with love. "I believe he does, sweetheart. When we trust him, he hears us even more." Timmy nodded gravely, and in that moment, Emily realized how essential it was to embody the lessons before her. She was not alone in this journey. She had her children, her faith community, and above all, God. Pastor Jonathan's voice rose. "Remember, trusting God is like stepping off a cliff into the arms of your Creator. It can be scary at first, but he promises to catch us. He wants to guide you to extraordinary places beyond your imagination." Tears of vulnerability gathered in Emily's eyes. How could trusting lead to such heights of faith? What miraculous transformations awaited her? The church filled with applause and amens echoing like a symphony of belief. Among this chorus of voices, she felt a shift within, a call to surrender her fears, to allow God to weave a path she hadn't yet envisioned. As the service concluded, she stepped out into the sunlight, her heart pulsing with excitement. Each moment offered a gentle nudge of encouragement, and she wondered, would she be faithful enough to jump into trust? Would her community embrace this step with her? With one last glance at the warm glow of the church, Emily felt the winds of change surrounding her. There was more to discover, more to manifest. Would trust form a bridge to miracles yet unseen? What if the third step revealed not just clarity, but a whole new world? As the day unfolded, Emily stopped to consider the divine journey that awaited her next. Emily awoke the next day, the sun breaking through her window as if God himself was painting the room. It felt as though this new day was holding secrets, waiting for her to discover. There was newfound courage within her, and with every breath, she felt the warmth of God's grace wrapping around her like a divine shawl. After breakfast, a tender sense of urgency urged her to seek out a quiet spot, a place favored for reflections and understanding. In the small garden behind her house, she found it. Sitting on the wooden swing, she could hear the gentle rustling of leaves, the soft chirping of birds, and her own heartbeat syncing with nature's rhythm. As she settled into this sacred space, Emily closed her eyes and whispered a prayer. "Lord, guide me in trust. Show me how to embrace your plan." The words floated on the breeze, mingling with the scents of blooming flowers and fresh earth. There was something freeing in the air, and a quiet assurance settled over her, like a comforting blanket. At that moment, she remembered Pastor Jonathan's voice. Trusting God opens the floodgates for unimaginable blessings. Suddenly, a thought crossed her mind. What if her trust wasn't only about letting go, but about stepping into something greater? What if, instead of being a passive bystander, she actively sought God's vision for her life and community? With renewed commitment, Emily decided to embark on her personal journey of discovery, starting with simple actions. She grabbed her notebook and began writing down her thoughts. What does it mean to trust? She scribbled. How can I serve my community in love? Ideas poured forth like rain after a drought. She thought of organizing a community meal at the park, a gathering where everyone, regardless of circumstance, could come, share, and be fed not just with food but with love. It was a small step, but she felt the weight of its significance. Her heart raced as she pictured the smiling faces, the laughter, and the conversations that would weave together stories of resilience and hope. Emily saw God's fingerprints all over these visions. It was as if he was nudging her, practically urging her forward. As she prepared a plan for the meal, she felt a gentle nudge, almost a whisper, calling her to dig even deeper to explore the stories within her community. Later that week, she visited Alice, an elderly neighbor known for her captivating tales and wisdom. With a warm cup of tea between them, Emily asked, "What has been the greatest lesson you've learned in life?" Alice's laughter filled the room like music. "Darling, it's all about how much love you give and how much trust you place in others. Since I learned to open my heart, I've had miracles flow into my life. I've lived, truly lived." To hear those words from Alice resonated deeply within Emily. Love and trust danced together in a beautiful rhythm, infusing her spirit with encouragement. With every conversation she had, she began to see the world through a different lens, one that reflected the beauty woven through shared experiences. As she stepped back into the world outside, Emily felt her heart expand. Each moment she entrusted to God unraveled more opportunities for connection with her community. With every smile she shared, her faith blossomed deeper roots. As the town was preparing for her planned gathering, she stood outside looking out over the park, the trees swaying in the breeze. A feeling of anticipation filled her soul. She was about to witness the fruits of her labor, the manifestation of trust woven through love. But as she looked around, she felt a flutter of uncertainty. Would everyone come? Would they receive what she hoped to offer? Little did she know that this would be the catalyst for even greater transformations. What extraordinary wonders would be born from this act of trust? How might her community respond? As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Emily held her breath, ready for the beautiful journey ahead. As the gathering day approached, Emily moved through her routines with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The vibrant colors of autumn had begun to quilt the landscape, as if nature itself was celebrating the new connections she hoped to foster. Yet, the shadow of doubt occasionally flickered in the corners of her mind, whispering questions that felt familiar, echoing fears of inadequacy and failure. That morning, Emily set to work in the bustling kitchen, her heart vibrating with the pulse of anticipation. She chopped vegetables, stirred pots of rich stew, and baked loaves of warm bread, all the while murmuring prayers of gratitude for the gift of this opportunity. "Lord," she whispered softly, "may this meal nourish not just bodies but spirits." Through the sounds of clattering dishes and the aromatic scents enveloping her, a deep spiritual stirring guided her hands. She felt God's presence, an unmistakable warmth filling the air as she prepared not only food, but the environment for hearts to connect. Later, as she gathered at the park to set up, people began to trickle in. Neighbors emerged, some familiar, others not, their faces embedding a tapestry of stories, each one a thread in the greater fabric of community. Emily moved among them, greetings flowing with the same ease as her laughter, her nerves easing in the glow of shared camaraderie, yet in the backdrop, uncertainty simmered. Children ran about with joyful abandon, while adults exchanged hesitant smiles, each person wondering what this gathering truly meant. Emily caught sight of Alice in the crowd, her wise eyes twinkling with encouragement. The faith of one person, her friend, sparked a light within her, erasing the lingering doubts. As the meal began, the moment of divine interaction unfolded. Emily invited the guests to take a seat and offered a short prayer, her voice trembling slightly but firm in faith. "Father, we come together today not just to share this meal but to share our hearts. Let this gathering be a bridge of understanding and love." Those simple words hung in the air, tangible with hope. With the first spoonful of stew being served, Emily hesitated as the first few guests filled their plates. A surprised delight washed over her when she noticed laughter erupt beside a group of teenagers, the barriers of age and background dissolving in the warmth of shared stories. Over the din of chatter and clinking cutlery, she caught snatches of conversation, laughter mingled with murmured secrets. It became evident that her humble meal was acting as more than just nourishment. It was a catalyst for connection, healing, and even rekindling old friendships. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the park in tender hues, Emily noticed two families exchanging information, two new friendships blooming from what once might have felt ordinary. In that moment, joy surged within her, bursting forth like sunlight breaking through clouds. Emily felt a divine confirmation flooding her heart. Love and trust indeed held the power to weave a glorious tapestry of community. Yet as twilight approached, an unfamiliar voice cut through her bliss. A stranger, a man with weary eyes and a worn coat, approached her table, the tremble of a hidden struggle lurking beneath his calm demeanor. "Excuse me, miss," he said cautiously, "I heard about the meal and well, I've been going through a tough time." Is it okay if I share my story with you? Emily's heart raced, sensing a divine invitation. Here was a moment where trust could thrive. She nodded, feeling the heart of God pulling her deeper into the unfolding mystery of connection. Of course, she replied warmly, I'd love to listen. Little did she know, this encounter would lead to a profound revelation about sacrifice, resilience, and the very essence of community. What would his tale unlock? What lessons were waiting just below the surface, ready to be shared? As she leaned in to hear him speak, a sense of holy anticipation filled the air, as if heaven itself was holding its breath, waiting for the next miracle to unfold. The man settled onto a nearby bench, the weight of his troubles evident in the way he sat, shoulders heavy with stories untold. Emily drew closer, her eyes fixed on him with genuine concern. She could feel a singular pulse in the air, a shared understanding that anchored them both in this moment. What is your name? She asked gently, hoping to evoke some warmth from the chill of his expression. Daniel, he replied, his voice a mix of gravel and velvet, as if he were sculpting words out of the very struggles he faced. Tell me, Daniel, what brings you here today? Emily's heart was open, ready to embrace whatever burden he carried. That he took a deep breath, as though collecting the shattered pieces of his story. Life it hasn't been easy. I lost my job last month, and since then, it feels like everything's just fallen apart. His eyes fell to the ground, sadness spilling from his words like sand through fingers. Emily sensed the gravity of his situation, but what broke her heart was not only his loss but the ripple effect it produced. Have you been able to find any support? Friends, family? Daniel shook his head slowly. I've pushed them away. I didn't want to burden anyone with my struggles. At that moment, light caught the edges of Emily's vision, reminding her of the warm glow they had created together in the park. You know, sometimes when we feel lost, it's the connections we shy away from that end up being our lifeline. You don't have to carry this alone. He looked up, surprise softening the sharpness in his eyes. But how do I reach out? It feels like I've lost my worth. Your worth isn't measured by what you can do, Emily said, feeling the gentle urging of the spirit in her heart. Every person carries a story that matters, including you. By sharing your story, you allow others to see the beauty in struggle. Can you share your experience here with everyone? Daniel looked around at the gathering. The laughter of children, shared smiles, and the delicious aroma of Emily's stew wrapped around them like a warm embrace. His eyes flickered with uncertainty but also a spark of hope. You believe others will want to hear it? I believe they need to hear it because your struggles may be the path to healing for them too, Emily encouraged, feeling an urgency pulse through her words. That he took another moment, contemplating the crossroads he stood at. Then, with a steadying breath, he nodded. Okay. I'll try. That decision ignited something profound within the gathering. Emily sensed a shift as though the air itself was thick with divine potential, ready to break open the floodgates of connection. Why don't you start now? We're all friends here, Emily suggested, her voice infused with warmth. She gestured everyone closer, the energy humming with anticipation. Daniel stood, still hesitant, yet it was as though he could feel the palpable support radiating from the crowd. He cleared his throat. I never thought I'd be here like this, sharing my pain. But here I am. His voice grew stronger, words weaving through the hearts of listeners, each sentence a thread uniting their spirits. Emily watched, filled with reverence, as fears melted away, replaced by a courageous honesty that turned the gathering into a safe haven. As he spoke, the tears flowed freely, his story resonated, echoing truths of loss, resilience, and faith. The crowd leaned in closer, their hearts entwined in the shared struggle and compassion that swirled around them. Amidst the gathering, a remarkable transformation began to take place. Vulnerability illuminated the faces listening intently, each story shared sparking an electric current of divine understanding. A collective release washed over them, like a fresh breath of air after a long storm. Emily caught glimpses of others stepping forward as well, ready to share their own challenges. The barriers of isolation began to dissolve before her eyes, replaced by the warmth of kinship. Yet as Daniel finished his story, the air shifted again, thick with unspoken words and deeper truths yet to be revealed. Emily sensed there was still more to come. What revelations lay beneath the surface waiting to emerge? How would this newfound openness reshape their budding community? As she looked at Daniel, the weight of silent questions hung in the night air, beckoning her to step even deeper into this moment. Would they journey further into this divine unfolding, surrendering to the revelations waiting just beyond their grasp? Daniel's voice softened, the last echoes of his story hanging in the air. A stillness enveloped the gathering, and hearts felt the weight of shared vulnerability. Emily stepped forward, the warmth inside her blooming. She could sense everyone attuned to a higher frequency. "Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for your courage," she began, her voice resonating through the silence. "Your pain is a bridge, connecting us all. Isn't it incredible how our struggles can weave us together like a tapestry?" One of the listeners, a woman with kind eyes named Miriam, nodded eagerly. "Indeed. I've been carrying my own burdens, and Daniel's honesty inspires me to speak up too." Encouraged by her openness, others began to share. One by one, stories poured forth. Luke, a quiet man with a soft demeanor, spoke of the lonely nights after his marriage fell apart. Ruth revealed the pain of losing a parent and the long journey she took to find her peace. Each tale pierced the communal heart, yet instead of despair, joy began to rise, shimmering through shared tears. Emily smiled as she listened, her spirit swelling with gratitude. "You see, there's a divine beauty in our struggles. Each moment we share feeds our hope. They become seeds that bloom in understanding. Let us cultivate that garden together." As the stories built, Emily felt the atmosphere shift again, enveloped in a palpable energy. It was as if heaven itself had opened a window above them, showering their gathering in warmth and light. At that moment, Daniel shifted his weight and added with newfound fervor, "I didn't expect this. It feels like a weight has lifted. I thought I was alone, but now I see we're all intertwined." A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd, affirmations and nods spilling forth like blessings. In those moments, grace unfurled like a fragile flower, blossoming among them. The essence of togetherness tingled in the air, igniting spirits like lanterns on a dark night. Just then, Emily glanced toward the treetops, the leaves rustling gently under the embrace of the soft evening breeze. "Look at the sky. The stars start to twinkle, each one a reminder that we're never truly alone. They've witnessed our joys and our trials." Ruth leaned closer to Emily, her eyes glistening. "Do you think there's a purpose in our struggles? Perhaps they are opportunities, waiting for us to discover their hidden gifts." Emily felt a whisper of revelation stroke her heart. "What a profound thought, Ruth." "Yes. Each challenge can teach us if we're open. After all, when one door closes, another opens, offering a view we may never have seen." The gathering swelled with murmurs of agreement, a collective realization blossoming among them. The bond they were creating was unlike anything they had experienced before, fueled by shared truth and the whispers of the spirit. In that space, it was palpably clear what they shared was more than mere connection, it was sacred. A holy weaving of lives, emotions, and faith that would carry them into a future that felt inspired and rich with possibility. Then a hush swept back over the crowd, and Emily's spirit soared. What divine mysteries are waiting for us? As we share in this moment, what spark will ignite next? What will these stories lead us to? Will we rise to embrace the purpose behind our struggles? The air crackled softly, reverberating with questions that shimmered beyond the tangible, echoing like a gentle call toward the unknown. Just then, a flicker overhead, an unexpected breeze parting the clouds hinted at a revelation yet to unfurl. What awaited them on the other side of their shared journey? As Emily looked around, anticipation bubbled in her chest. It was clear, they were on the edge of something truly remarkable. Would they be open to receiving it? The air shimmered with potential as murmurs faded into a stillness thick with expectation. Each person could feel the thread of unity pulling them closer, binding their hearts in a sacred tapestry they had woven, stitch by stitch, through shared vulnerability. Emily closed her eyes for a fleeting moment, allowing the warmth of the spirit to wash over her. This gathering felt alive, vibrant with divine purpose. She opened her eyes and saw Daniel looking at her, an eagerness sparkling in his eyes. "What do we do now?" he asked, his voice steady yet filled with wonder. Emily smiled, sensing the hunger for a deeper connection. Let us take a moment to breathe together. Inhale the blessings, and exhale our burdens. As they breathed in unison, the essence of their stories filled the space like sweet incense. They inhaled hope, faith, and love. They exhaled fear, shame, and doubt. Each breath became a shared prayer, echoing through the gathering like a melodious hymn. Can you feel that? Luke whispered, eyes wide as he glanced around. It feels like something is shifting. Yes. Miriam chimed in, her voice tinged with excitement. The energy is so strong. It's like we're creating something together, something greater than ourselves. With hearts aligned, Emily nodded in agreement. Indeed, we are birthing a sacred truth. A truth that beckons us to embrace our journeys not as isolated paths, but as a sacred path we walk together. Imagine the strength we'll find in that. As those words settled, Daniel looked back at the stars now shimmering brilliantly above them. So, what's next? Do we just wait for the answers to come? Emily felt a lively current of inspiration surge through her. We must seek them. Together. Let us embark on this next step as one collective heart. Each of us carries unique gifts and wisdom. What if we share what we feel God is revealing to us, right here and now? Excited murmurs rippled through the crowd, anticipation bubbling over as participants began to nod. Ruth, emboldened by the atmosphere, shared her thought. I feel led to believe that each moment of pain we've endured has prepared us for this very gathering. We are here to sow seeds of healing. Yes. And watering those seeds is the love we share now, Emily exclaimed, her spirit buoyed by Ruth's reflection. One by one, they spoke, each unveiling their thoughts and feelings connected to that sacred moment. They shared visions, hopes, and even doubts, transforming every word into a brushstroke on the canvas of their shared journey. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through, rustling the leaves above them and sending a wave of palpable energy coursing through the crowd. A divine whisper seemed to echo, "You are not just participants in this journey, you are co-creators with me." Confusion momentarily danced in the eyes of some, but the awe quickly turned into determination. Daniel stood up taller, his countenance glowing. What if we took action? What if we made plans together? Not just dreams, but tangible steps in faith? Yes. The chorus of voices rose together. Hopes now soared higher than their collective fears. They began sharing ideas, brainstorming ways to uplift their community, heartfelt solutions to their struggles. The air was electric, filled with passion and purpose. Emily's heart raced as she witnessed their emerging vision transform into a shared mission. As the night deepened, she felt the weight of something monumental stirring in the atmosphere. Is this just the beginning? She wondered silently. What if we truly embrace the unknown? And as if in response, the stars blinked brightly, illuminating them in divine illumination. With that flickering of light, a question hung in the air, larger than their gathered hearts. What would their next steps lead them toward? Would they dare to dive deeper into the mysteries unfolding before them? The night was pregnant with questions, and Emily looked around, recognizing that the real journey was just beginning, waiting for their spirits to ignite and explore what lay beyond the horizon. The soft glow of the moon bathed the gathering in a tender light, as the whispers of each soul intertwined. They had crossed a threshold, and now stood on the brink of something transformative. The energy in the air felt charged with divine expectancy. Let us dig deeper, Emily urged, her voice steady, but tinged with excitement. Let us explore the ways our hearts can come together in actionable love. Daniel nodded, the gleam in his eyes reflecting the light of the stars above. What can we do to be those hands and feet? He asked, his heart racing with the possibility of their united efforts. As Emily looked around, she saw the familiar faces, now glowing with purpose. We must listen closely. What is the Spirit inviting us to pursue? Luke spoke up, his expression carrying earnest weight. We could focus on the youth. They need guidance, a sense of belonging. I believe we can create spaces for them to express their gifts. The idea sparked a ripple of excitement, echoing in the minds of others. Ruth chimed in, and we can set up mentoring programs to encourage them to step into their destinies. Imagine the impact. Miriam clasped her hands, eyes dancing with fervor. We can host community workdays, helping our neighbors, showing them we care. Love in action. Yes. Let us bring back the spirit of unity to our community, Emily encouraged, feeling the presence of the divine swirling among them, like a nurturing breeze. It was as if the very air buzzed with possibility. Each suggestion breathed life into the gathering. Plans began to form like intricate webbing spun from their collective dreams, alive with hope and intention. Many began to share ideas, their voices rising into a harmonious chorus. Suddenly, a hush fell over the group as an unusual light flickered on the forest's edge. It felt as though a portal had opened between realms. Emily gasped softly. Was this the divine confirmation they had been yearning for? What is it? Someone whispered, eyes wide with wonder. It's as if we're being called to step through, Daniel murmured. His heart pounded with anticipation, sensing that the ethereal glow was a sign. With a gentle push, Emily took a step forward, feeling the urge to move closer. If we're to embrace our calling, we cannot stand on the edge any longer. We must move forward in faith. As she took one step then another, the rest of the group instinctively followed, drawn in by the magnetic pull of the light. One by one, they found their courage, hearts unified in purpose. As they approached the luminous glow, voices of faith echoed in their hearts. We trust you, Lord, murmured Luke. Guide us. They stepped into the illumination, and for a moment, time felt suspended. The world around them faded, leaving only the bond they shared. Do you feel that? Miriam gasped, a radiant smile spreading across her face as she felt warmth envelop her spirit. It's like love is pouring over us. Emily closed her eyes briefly, letting the sensation wash over her. It overwhelmed her with a sense of divine importance. It's the heart of God confirming our path. We are chosen to bring forth sacred change. Yet as they embraced this profound moment, an undeniable question lingered in the depths of their hearts. Would they have the courage to fully step into the divine mystery unfolding before them? The light flickered once more, pulsing in rhythm with their hearts, echoing an invitation. What awaited them on the other side? What secrets lay hidden beneath the shimmering facade? And just as the air vibrated with energy, they were reminded what they would find, depended on the faith they dared to explore. As they stood on the precipice of the unknown, the warm light enveloping them like a heavenly embrace, Emily felt a sense of clarity wash over her. This was not merely a moment, it was a divine invitation to step boldly into their calling. Together, we can do this, she exclaimed, her voice buoyed by faith and conviction. Inside her heart, she sensed the echoes of every story shared, nurturing seeds of community. One by one, they took another step into the shimmering glow. Each person felt the shift in the air, a sacred resonance pulsing beneath their feet. They were no longer individuals burdened by their struggles but a collective force fueled by love and destiny. Imagine what we can achieve, Daniel said, his eyes glistening with renewed hope. We can build a community that thrives on trust, love, and support. The group nodded, their faces alight with determination, reflecting their willingness to embrace the path laid before them. Timmy, who had been observing from a distance, looked up at his mother and whispered, "Mommy, can we make it really special for everyone?" Emily knelt beside him, her heart swelling with pride and joy. "Yes, sweetheart. We will create something beautiful together." With each heartbeat, they drew closer to clarity, the light illuminating not just their path but the purpose behind their struggles. In that space, they realized that their misfortunes held the potential for profound blessings. Together, they could weave love through each challenge, forming a tapestry that could change lives. Pastor Jonathan's teachings rang in her mind like a chorus. Love is the foundation, and trust is the bridge. Emily felt the urge to bring this wisdom back to her community, to remind them of their shared strength. What if we start a weekly gathering? She proposed, a place for sharing stories, love, hope, and vision. A space to lift each other up, just like we did tonight. Cheers erupted around her, each voice adding to the chorus of enthusiasm. The energy in the air was electric, charging their spirits with possibilities. Let us call it faith in action," said Miriam, her eyes sparkling. "We can draw in everyone, those struggling, those thriving, and create a network of encouragement." "Yes." The voices rose higher, echoing with affirmation. Each suggestion birthed yet another, fueling the fire of unity. They would serve meals, create mentorship programs, offer healing workshops, anything that tied their hearts together with love and purpose. With each plan, they felt the weight of isolation lifting. As they solidified their intentions, a collective warmth enveloped the group, a divine caress affirming they were not just participating in community but co-creating a movement of faith. The radiant light swirled around them, their understanding deepening. This was their calling, to turn trials into testimony, to transform pain into purpose. Together, and as twilight blanketed the park, giving way to a blanket of stars, Emily gazed up, feeling overwhelmingly blessed. "Tonight, we've truly found our community," she whispered, tears of joy brimming as she looked around at the smiling faces, each one a glimmering point of light. The moment was perfect. It was as if heaven itself had poured out blessings over Littleford, wrapping the entire church community in love and connection. "Let us meet here every week," Emily declared, her spirit on fire. "We will nurture this bond we've created." "Absolutely. Together, we can change lives," Daniel said, his confidence solidifying in the embrace of shared purpose. They spent hours discussing the vision, dreams intertwining seamlessly with the hopes of many. Their laughter rang through the air, echoing the divine symphony of unity. Every voice sang songs of encouragement, every word felt charged with divine assurance. As the night faded into dawn, Emily knew they had crossed a threshold, no longer fearful wanderers but compassionate warriors, armed with love and trust. They had experienced a divine awakening that would ripple through Littleford, illuminating every corner with hope. Tomorrow would hold challenges, yes, but now, they faced them together. Each person in that gathering had transformed, bonded by their stories, their faith, and their commitment to one another. Emily savored the realization through love, trust, and collective action, their lives would manifest true heavenly riches, pouring forth blessings for themselves and everyone they encountered. As she left the park, a profound peace radiated from within her, illuminating their path forward. This was just the beginning. Never forget, dear reader, these stories and moments matter. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive faith stories that can inspire and uplift your walk. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, showing that you support this vital mission to spread hope and light. Comment your reactions and testimonies about the ending. Your voice matters and can inspire someone else to find their path. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful manifestation of faith and community. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second. True servants of God know the importance of coming together to lift one another up.